So it's that time of year, the new iPhones are out, and you don't know if you want to upgrade or not. Truth is, if you're coming from an iPhone 14, there's not that many changes that the average person will really notice. I upgraded from the 12 Pro Max, so there were a lot of drastic changes for me. But let me tell you, if you are a photographer, a cinematographer, or a content creator, this most definitely is the phone for you. Let's get into it. I got the 15 Pro Max in the new natural titanium colorway. I think this is the best looking colorway besides the black, since Apple doesn't want to give the Pro phones any good colors like that amazing pink for the regular 15. I swear I'm thinking about buying another phone just for that pink colorway, but I truly love the natural titanium just as much. This year's iPhone features rounded edges that feels way better in the hand than the sharp edges of the previous year. To me, the titanium is miles better than the stainless steels in regards to fingerprints. And you'll notice that the titanium actually makes it considerably lighter. One of the main features that are welcome with open arms is finally the introduction of USB-C. It feels good to finally have one port that works with most of my electronics. Even though Apple was basically forced by the EU to switch to USB-C from Lightning, there's a ton of usability added. You can use it to charge your AirPods and other phones. You can also connect SD cards, Ethernet, SSDs, and more. And if you have a USB-C hub, you can connect multiple things at once. Okay, so now getting into the action button. I think this is a really useful feature that Apple added in terms of accessibility. Now, instead of it just being a mute switch, you can still do that, but now it can be a focus mode, open your camera, a flashlight, a voice memo, magnifier, shortcuts, accessibility features, or no action at all. But I keep it on shortcut because I actually use a shortcut feature that gives a lot of different options. Shortcuts is probably the way to go with the action button because you can set shortcuts that gives you so many different options. Like this one that I have right now, it gives me the option to turn on the flashlight, the camera, mute the phone, rotation lock, and set my focus all in one gesture. But I've seen some people that's been coming up with shortcuts that add way more usability than that. Now moving on to the reason that most people will get this phone, the camera. And you know what? I have to say that Apple really shocked me with bringing the ability to shoot log to this phone. With finally being able to shoot in 4K ProRes log, that gets rid of the over-sharpened HDR look that iPhones always had. You can shoot ProRes log in 4K, 24, 30, and 60 FPS. But for 60 FPS, you have to connect an external hard drive or SSD for it to allow you to record. I think this is because the file sizes would be too big and would fill up your iPhone storage very quickly. This is a completely good step in the right direction in terms of image quality. This is a good enough quality to be able to mix in clips of footage shot on most pro level cameras. Here's a quick comparison test, and tell me if you could spot the difference between the iPhone footage versus a Sony a7 IV footage. Even though there's 3 lenses on the back of the iPhone, Apple introduced a feature that says it's 7 different lenses, where in addition to the 0.5, 2x, and 5x camera zooms, they included a 24, 28, and 35 millimeter focal length. This has been controversial for some people, writing it off as just a digital zoom, but when using the different focal lengths, you can still get that same lens compression that those lenses are known to provide. A nice feature that Apple added is the ability to make your regular photos into portrait mode photos after you took them. At times, I'm still iffy on portrait mode because it's not always perfect, and some of the artificial blur is kind of hit or miss. But since you can now add the blur after you take the picture and adjust it to your liking, I think that's a way better way of doing it than just going and always taking portrait mode pictures. Another thing that I was impressed by was actually the action mode. When you have action mode toggled on, you can only shoot in 2.8K and you need a lot of light so your image isn't grainy. But if you want to shoot something super smooth without a gimbal and you know you're going to be shaky, then at times action mode will almost completely smoothen out your footage. Alright, so my overall thoughts of this year's lineup of iPhones is that they're pretty solid, but they're very familiar. If you don't really think that you would utilize any of the features that I showed off in this video, then I suggest that you wait for the next year's lineup of iPhones, or you just get the regular 15. But if you make any type of content, the iPhone 15 Pro Max has enough things that are useful about it to be able to be called pro features. And I think log footage is a big enough reason to pull the trigger. Well, if y'all enjoyed this video or it helped you in your decision to get this phone, then go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.